The following is a Realtree outdoor production. World champion turkey caller and Team Realtree member Chris Kirby starts off All Stars of Spring 4, the complete turkey hunter, with a successful hunt in Georgia. Good job. Chris's Winchester Model 1300 does the trick.
I've been on that back side of that ridge all morning, had 2 or 3 turkeys gobbling, hens yelping right with them. We knew they were covered up with hens, so we decided we need to make a move. And a lot of times when you're in the woods, that's what you need to do, just make a little move. We circle around on the road, come down into this little pine forest right here, wide open, great place for a turkey to strut. Hit the call 1 or 2 times, he gobbled. Didn't do a whole lot of calling, didn't need to. Had the hens convinced, and that's really what made this trip a success.
What a way to start. Now, let's join Realtree designer Bill Jordan, your host for All Stars of Spring 4.
Welcome to Part 2, All Stars of Spring 4, the complete turkey hunter. Folks, if you've been watching our video series for over the last few years, you know, we've got something in store for you that I think you're really going to enjoy. We've got the best turkey hunters across the country who are going to share information with you on how to become a complete turkey hunter. And I've got alongside of me today my good friend David Blanton, and Dave, we're looking forward to hearing from the pros on how to be a complete turkey hunter.
Well, these guys, our Realtree Pro Staff, we've got guys like Brad Harris, Joe Drake, Walter Parrott, Matt Moret, Ricky Joe Bishop, and our own ace cameraman and hunter, Michael Waddell, joining us. And they're going to cover aspects of turkey hunting from preseason scouting to pulling the trigger.
Right. And I tell you, there's a lot involved. You know, people think you just go turkey hunting, but we're going to kind of more or less, I guess, share with the audience behind the scenes, getting ready, and like you said, going to the final thing of pulling the trigger, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, and also, we've also got 13 hunts, incredible hunts from all over the country that people are going to see it and really enjoy.
Well, folks, let's get started right now. We got some incredible hunting action coming up. Great tips, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
Realtree's All Stars of Spring 4, Hunting with the Pros, is brought to you by Federal Ammunition. For that shot of a lifetime, use Federal. Field Line, America's finest outfitter. Hunter's Specialties, for sportsmen, by sportsmen. By Polaris, makers of 14 different high-performing ATV models. Simmons, Rifle and Shotgun Scope Headquarters. 10X, an American tradition since 1934. And by Realtree, America's most versatile camo pattern. You're about to witness the spectacular sights and sounds of spring turkey hunting at its best. Not only will you have a front row seat for 13 awesome hunts, but you'll learn how to become a better turkey hunter on Realtree's All Stars of Spring 4, the complete turkey hunter.
Well, guys, I brought all my turkey hunting equipment. I was told to bring it, so I did. Did you guys forget?
You're not going to share a little bit of that with Matt and I?
Now, this is all mine. I'm bringing it home after we get through this.
You know, you've got a lot of equipment, and folks, it does take a lot of equipment when you're turkey hunting. And first thing we're going to do for us talks about equipment that you have to carry, but you know we have to have calls. There's certain strategies, but it all starts with your equipment. And boy, you're loaded down with it.
I'm loaded down to the hilt.
Let's do this. Let's talk about some of the equipment. I'm going to take some of it off of you, and Matt's going to take some. But Matt, what I want you to do first is let's start off. You know, I have so many questions. A lot of people ask me about do you cover your face and your hands? And the answer is definitely yes.
Yeah, with the turkey being able to see as good as he can, of course, the best parts, the most important parts to keep covered are your face and your hands. Head net, like a full head net like this one right here. I think today's turkey hunters, their favorite choice in head nets is a 3/4 mask, one you can pull up or pull down when you're on the move.
That's my favorite.
That's the one that I like to use too. And I think it's very important to keep your face covered and also your hands.
Well, you know, the hands, I've been bow hunting and gun hunting for a lot of years, as both of you have, but, you know, something simple on a glove is obviously keeps reflection off the back, moving, having it camouflaged, but I like something that's got a high rib to it, that doesn't, come down to my lower part of my wrist, got coverage right there. But most importantly for me, I like to feel the trigger or bow release. And this particular glove, has finger slits in it. You can go right next to it. Another reason too, if you don't have slits in your gloves, take a pair of scissors and just open up your little seam, and you're ready to go. But guys, there's so much other equipment, and we got the your face and your hands. But let's talk about your feet a little bit. A lot of times in turkey hunting, and you boys both done this, you do a lot of walking.
No doubt.
And one of my favorite boots is by Rocky, and it's called the Outback. And I know elk hunting this past year is one of your favorites as well.
Oh yeah, we used that boot, Bill, this past fall out in New Mexico, and walking on that uneven terrain out there in New Mexico, and it wasn't nothing like 6-7 miles in a day, from the time we left at daylight, and those boots really perform well with the Gore-Tex in them, and just a good all-around boot.
One thing about this boot right here, it's a good lightweight boot, but it has plenty of construction in it as far as shaping to your foot, and has a good tread on the bottom, especially in slippery type terrain. But it's one of my favorite boots for long distance walking. But one of our other friends, which you guys know, is Brad Harris, and this is one of his favorite boots, is mine too, and it's by Lacrosse, and it's called a Burley, and there's nothing like it when you're hunting swamps or wet weather, early morning dew or whatever, keeping your feet dry. And this is a nice boot too, and surprisingly enough, you can walk real well into it.
Right. Also, during bow hunting whitetail, it's a good scent boot to wear for a scent. Rubber leaves no scent, so you can. It's good to slip in there, and those deer can't smell you coming in on the trails.
It really is. And it doesn't go without saying. We talk about ammunition and guns, and what do you look for when you're making a purchase for guns and ammunition? And it is very critical to have the right gun selection and ammunition selection. And Matt, I know you got some thoughts about that.
Yeah, I think no matter what, the gun has to fit you, and you have to be comfortable shooting the gun. And it's important to have enough respect for that animal when you go out there that you know your effective range. Get out there before the season, shoot it at different yards, shoot at 10 yards all the way back to 40, and know the effective range of that particular gun. And try to get a good pattern. There's plenty of choke tubes on the market today. Most of the guns come through factory with full chokes. There's a lot of extra full aftermarket chokes they're very effective and give you great patterns up to 40 yards.
Well, that's a Mossberg gun right there, 9200 automatic, and Michael, what you have is a Winchester 1300 and a pump, and I think the lesson to be learned there is find out your choke system, take your shells out there, whether it be 4.5s or 6s, and shoot it through your gun and see what's your best patterns in your gun. And Michael, we use federal ammunition, and it is important to find out what shot best suited for the gun.
Oh, it really is. This gun, like I said, is a Winchester, and this particular gun, it really likes federal number 4s, and throughout the year we usually primarily shoot these federal ammo, and it really performs well. And like I said, you need to take your gun, whether it be a Mossberg, Winchester, whatever the name, you need to take it and shoot different ammo through it, and see what shoots the best out of that particular gun. It might be a 4, it might be a 6 shot, it could be the 7.5 shots. And the Mossberg is nowhere to shoot a 3.5-inch shell, 3-inch shell, or 2 3/4 inch.
Which Mossberg has, and Federal makes a 3.5 shell for it.
Right, and it doesn't matter if it's 2 3/4. If it shoots better than a 3.5, shoot to 2 3/4. Whatever pattern's best out of that gun, whatever shot, use that shot. Whatever's going to perform best out in the field.
Right. Matt, I know a lot of times you use a blind. Hunter specialist makes a particular camouflage blind, but a lot of times I know how we all hunt. We like to move and call, but a lot of times it's a lot better sometimes just sit in a particular area and blind yourself up and make a blind around you, and Hunter Specialty has a great blind.
That's right, and this particular blind you can be mobile with. It's a portable blind, and you can just carry it right with you. It's very lightweight, and it's 27 inches high and 12 feet long, and it's plenty to cover you up. I like to use it when I'm guiding somebody, especially somebody that's never been turkey hunting before, because it keeps them still.
Yeah, and that's an important key right there. Go turkey hunting, you got to have this old decoy right there. And Michael, I know that's one of your favorites.
Got to have a decoy. I tell you, this particular decoy is made by Featherflex, and Bill, you know this. We never leave home without it. I mean, if we're filming or just out hunting for the fun of it, we always have this decoy with us because it takes that gobbler's attention away from you, away from the calling. Once it gets within range, he really focuses in on this decoy, and it just makes the hunt a lot of times a lot more exciting.
It really does. What's nice about this decoy right here is collapsible. You know, for being able to put in the back of your vest. And of course, it has a stake system that goes with it as well. Just a real easy, quick setup when you don't have a whole lot of time to set up, perhaps.
Right.
You know, all this equipment, you know, have to have all of it, but it goes without saying you got to have a place to put everything. And there are a lot of good turkey vests on the market. There's a lot of different features in turkey vest, but I think the most important thing, Matt, is pockets. And you know, you have to have pockets to carry everything. This particular vest right here has an inside pocket. A lot of the turkey vests, I know Hunter Specialty makes one that you know, especially made for box call and slate calls. This particular vest right here has ammunition for its place to put your ammunition, but you can't leave it out, Michael, your vest.
No, you can. I tell you, and a lot of times you can use that vest for other things rather than hunting or turkey hunting. You can, you know, as a photographer, you can take it and put all your film and cameras in it. And, you know, you can even fit a small tripod, a little camera tripod back there. And that's as far as all the cameramen at Realtree. We take that same exact vest and put all our camera equipment in there.
Yeah, this bag right here is a line game, you know, vest bag in the back. You know, be able to, you know, put your storage of your bird back there. But it goes without saying, you have to have safety in mind always. And on all the vests, I think that I know all from Hunter Specialists and 10X, they have a safety, you know, orange flag. And coming out of the woods, that's real important.
Right. The vest keeps you organized when you're out there. That's its main goal. You know where everything's at.
Well, you know, like you're saying, it's organized, and being able to put box calls on one side, slate, and when you need that call, you can automatically go to that set place, you know, in order to get it.
Right.
A lot of equipment you got to have in turkey
hunting. A lot
hunting.
of it, but it pays off to have good equipment in the field.
It really does. And you guys, I want to talk a little bit too about you know, camo. I tell you, you know, so many people, we talk about camouflage in your hands and your face, and you know, at Realtree, and we're not obviously trying to plug Realtree camouflage, but it is important to choose a camouflage pattern that works for you in those situations. And I know a lot of times, Matthew used our gray all-purpose, and I knew Realtree Gray Extra, and it works good for you 12 months out of the year.
Right, it does. And a lot of times what I like to do is actually mix my camo too. Early in the season, you know, more grays out there, and you know, later on as it greens up, I'll go to an all-purpose brown or the new brown extra.
Right, and very important key right there. And I think the thing is just you know, match up the terrain in which you're in, and effective camouflage, good equipment, all adds up to successful hunting.
No doubt.
Well, guys, we got some great hunts coming up. Matt, you know, we have a hunt coming up with you from Missouri, and I think Michael, a hunt from you in Texas, and another good friend, John Trout, outdoor writer from South Dakota, and even I get lucky on another Texas hunt this year on the Encinitas Ranch with you. And what we're going to do right now, we're going to take you on 4 exciting hunts. I think you're really going to enjoy these hunts. Let's take a look.
Matt has taken gobblers all across the country, but Illinois is one of his favorite states to hunt. And as we're about to see, it's no wonder.
Expose ourselves. Shows up, he's going to be in gun range if he comes. Fence line right down here. A lot of times we use that. It's kind of area. It's kind of a natural kind of travel route for a turkey or deer or anything. Slip up here. Remember, you don't want to expose yourself over these ridges.
Matt is very careful not to advance much farther with very little cover to hide his movements.
Leave some of that there for some good camouflage. The turkey's down in that bottom. He's probably going to use this old fence line. It's kind of open here beside us. He's gonna come right around this area if he comes. Whoa. This ridge has knocked me out now. Glide down just a little bit. He's on his way back there.
An eager response tells Matt that the bird is definitely interested.
It's quick. You gotta get set up. It's important to be rock still. I can see that bottom angle. That's probably where it was. It's amazing sometimes you get set up. We only set up back there about 50 yards and he didn't even budge. Got up there to where he wants to be. That's the most important thing about setting up, is being right there where he wants to be. I can hear him walking at least. Listen to him drum. He's strutting on his way up there. Not gonna call, let him come find us. There he is, 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. I gotta move my gun barrel. I guess he'd be behind that bush there. Oh, look at that. Yes.
Boy, you talk about close. By the time Matt and the turkey came eyeball to eyeball, they were only 15 yards apart.
Yes! Man, what a bird. Whew. Oh, boy. He is a good turkey now, I'm telling you. He's got real good spurs, probably close to 1 inch long. Real nice beard. Whew, they make your heart pound, there's no doubt about that. Oh, man. A strut cut combo. I love that call. Used that thing all morning. Started that turkey on the roost. I wasn't real familiar with this terrain and this land, and heard him gobble. Almost right when we got out of the truck, he was down the next ridge over, and I wasn't sure how it laid, and I started to get around him. I figured they'd head for the bottom that's below us now, and we started across the creek. I could hear the turkey drumming, and then I saw him strutting on the other side of the hill, and we just laid there against the log and watched him. I had called to him one time, and watched him on the other side of on that ridge, on that silhouette on that ridge, and he strutted down that ridge. We let him go off, let him get in that bottom, made the big circle. We called to him probably 100 yards up there, and he wasn't real interested. He gobbled intermittently, and then came down the ridge a little farther, called again, and he gobbled a few times. Came out here on this point, hit him, and he went nuts. It wasn't too long. He was coming up over the side of that hill. What a pretty turkey, I'll tell you. It just doesn't get any better than this. Whew, these hills are wearing me out, I'm telling you. Oh, I think we better get a tag on him, get him to the truck.
Next stop, the Encinitas Ranch, where we join Michael on a great Rio Grande hunt. Michael sets out the Featherflex decoys carefully in the high wind and finds a good vantage point before doing any calling. It's important to be completely ready before resuming calling after the bird has been located. Suddenly, and quietly, the longbeard surprises Michael and the cameraman by slipping in from the side. Not sure if the cameraman had picked up the turkey long enough for a good hunt on video, Michael holds off the trigger to get more footage. With the hot midday Texas sun beaming down, the Tom likes the shade of the mesquite tree. And Michael's content to watch and enjoy the moment. Now that's what you call waiting for more footage.
On Encinitas Ranch, lots of gobblers. It's been real hot and windy, and we've been really having to work hard for these turkeys. We got out here, called, so windy, we thought we heard a turkey down here behind us. Turned out the turkey was just right behind the camera after we set up, and it was too late to move once he started coming, and so we just tried to deal with our patience there. So sure enough, the turkey come right around, got over here in the shade, and was trying to loaf and strut right over here in the shade. But with a little patience and soft calling, it finally convinced him to come over and visit the decoys, and I was able to get a good, clean shot on this turkey.
And since we're jumping all over the country, might as well head out to South Dakota, where outdoor writer John Trout and outfitter Chris Yeoman find themselves in the right place. Typical for South Dakota, a call produces gobbles, and John and Chris set up. Sounds like lots of gobblers on the way, so John chooses to sit back and see how many show up. Cameraman Michael Waddell also begins calling and gets these birds fired up.
Congratulations, John.
Thank
Glad
you,
you could
Chris.
come.
Glad to be here. I enjoyed that, boy. That was all right.
Yeah, it was.
Really a nice bird too. Good 3-year-old bird, I believe.
Yeah, he is. He's got a nice heavy beard. What, 1.8" spurs?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was great when we came up here and he gobbled right over the edge, 40, 50 yards away, and they carried on for 20, 25 minutes. It was an exciting hunt.
Yeah, we had 4 longbeards in there, I think, and
Yeah.
a couple jakes and some hens, and
Yeah.
boy,
Boy, that one hen, she really screeched, didn't she?
she wouldn't shut up, would she?
No.
She was just a squawking. And
Good hunt, guys. Now, let's head back to the mesquite country, where Bill's gonna take us on a hunt where he encounters a boss gobbler.
Bird right there. Big bird right there. That gobble good right there.
Majestically, the big dominant Tom, accompanied by another longbeard, makes his way into view.
One more time. He's coming. Oh man, I am wore out. 2 birds. Oh, 1 shot. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Oh, look at this big old bird.
Well, Bill, now
goodness
there's a double you'll remember. Congratulations.
Has this been an afternoon?
You know, Texas is always great.
You know, I always enjoy Texas. You know, we've been down, the 3 of us, quite often, and there's nothing like just the sheer number of birds you hear down there. But it's always a lot of fun.
Lots of gobbling action down there all the time.
Speaking of gobbling action, Walter, you know, we talk about, you know, hunting strategies, you know, from start of the season to the end. And Joe, you know, here in Georgia, you know, we've got a long season starting sometimes the middle of March and not ending until the middle of May. And, you know, our hunting strategy here at home changes a lot, as a lot of states do. And Walter, you know, you're, you know, the home state of Missouri, you basically only have a 2-week season. But
Right.
What I want to pose a question, you both of you too, is how do you do your different strategies, let's say from the beginning of the season to the end? And Joe, since we're here in Georgia and got a long season, I'll ask you first.
Mm-hmm. Well, turkey season in Georgia, or in just about anywhere, you could almost put it on a chart with its high points and its low points, depending on what stage the turkeys are in. And in Georgia, you know, the gobblers are ready and the hens are not ready, so you have quite a bit of gobbling action then. And so if you call pretty aggressive the first part of the season, you usually do pretty good. And as the season progresses and the hens start coming to the gobblers,
Right.
the gobbling actually goes down a little bit because, you know, they don't have to gobble much to attract the hens because they're going to them. And on towards the end of the season, they'll start, hens will break off and they'll start going to the nest. And first thing you know, the big old boss gobblers has had 15, 20 hens in some cases, don't have them anymore. So the gobbling picks back up towards the end of the season so you can call aggressively again.
You know, a lot of times too, you know, beginning part of the season, it's not uncommon to call in several different gobblers, you know, before they actually split up. You know, like you were saying, before the hens go on the nest.
Correct.
You know, just like in what I call bachelor groups with deer. But it's not uncommon to have those early part of the season, those gobblers still running together a lot of times.
Right.
And you know, in your home state of Missouri, Walter, you know, in hunting different parts of the country, you know, you have a 2-week window in there to hunt, having a 2-week season. Do you see much changes there?
Well, the weather usually plays a big part in Missouri, as you
Right.
know. A lot of times it's raining, but Joe made a good point about there's those transition areas there, that there's usually 3 of them, and we like to hunt the first one and the last one.
Yeah.
And, you know, traveling all over the country, like the last hunt I was here in Georgia, it was full foliage here.
Right.
The leaves were all out, and then I immediately got on a plane and went to New York, and the dogwoods were just starting to bloom, and it was just, you know, just amazing. It just started all over again.
Exactly. You know something too, we always hear the term henned up. There seems to be a part of the season right there when you hear those, have that week or two that those birds are really henned up real bad. And it's probably the most frustrating time for a lot of hunters.
Right.
And you know, because those birds are staying with those hens a lot longer during the day, and maybe they're not quite ready to nest, but that can be difficult. Joe, you handle that a different way?
Usually, a week or so into the season, and that's, you know, right, it seems like Mother Nature knows when this is going to happen.
Right.
And you get through with the first few gobblers that are coming to the guns, and people are harvesting them and stuff like that. And now, after a week or so, all that gravy's over with.
Right.
Now you got the big boys to contend with, and that's when you're talking about henned up. Most of the time, they have most of the hens. So what a lot of people do, and what I do also, is I told my calling down and try to call that flock of hens in, and if
Right.
they come, he's going to come.
That's a good point right there. You know, and I want to talk about locating calls just a little bit too. You know, so many different locator type calls, and you know, as you guys do when you do your seminars and travels around the country, you need to have several locator calls with you. You know, a lot of times, you know, you hear so much of a owl hooter and a crow call, and obviously you should have both of those. But Walter, there's other locator calls as well.
You know, locator calls are very, very important in filming because you need that so-called amount of time to set up. You know, we got to pick our spot very carefully, and you got to be able to see, you know, the cameraman's got to be able to see the same thing the hunter is, and you got to anticipate which way you want the turkey to come, so that, you know, that locator call is very important if you can get him to respond, so you'll know you're in the right place.
Do this. Take us through some of those calls, and just let's start off with the owl hooter for us in early morning.
Yeah, first thing early in the morning, we try to get the owl going and make a couple of hoots, and if luckily enough there's an owl in the area, and he'll start hooting, and you can just concentrate on listening to him and let the gobblers respond to him and really pinpoint him. Something like that. You know, later up in the day, you know, we use a crow call.
Well, you know, a lot of times, you know, at daybreak, a lot of times you hear crows off in the distance. So even at that daybreak, you know, time of day, you hear a lot of crows. But
anytime you hear a crow, you need to stop and listen, because a lot of times, you know, a gobbler is going to respond to it, and it sounds something like this. You know, if we got a couple of guys hunting, one guy do the calling, turn away so he won't be so close in on him, and the other guy listen, you know.
Right.
And the pileated woodpecker's a great call. You get in close and you're not sure where he's at, you know, when you're within a few hundred yards of where you think you want to be, you can check him with that. There again, if you got 2 people, you know, let one guy listen, the other guy do the call.
I think the purpose right there of the calls, a lot of times a high-pitched sound, a lot of times what we call shot gobbling, that's basically what those calls do right there. And you know, another good point, as you mentioned, and I want to stress that to our viewing audience as well, is if you're hunting in pairs, if one of you doing the calling, that's a lot of loud noise around your head. Joe might stand off at a distance.
Whether it be a turkey call or a locator call.
Exactly, good point. Joe, I want to talk a little bit also as well about working a turkey, you know, setting up on a turkey. You know, there's so many different strategies. You know, we talked about a few minutes ago about the different peaks of the type year, but you know, as far as working a turkey, and I'm going to put you in a scenario that you're actually set up, you know, doing the calling from the ground, you actually, you know, got your back up against the tree. Is there different things that you might do, you know, different strategies, different times of year?
Sure is, and what makes the difference in that is the turkey itself. If he's aggressive and he's hitting everything that I got, I'll pour it on him. I'll let him have it. But if he shuts up, you know, and doesn't gobble as hard as I'd like for him to do, the best thing for you to do is back off. And then just give him a little bit and get his interest up, and then he might come on in. But those are the turkeys that take a little longer to work. What I like is what everybody likes. They like to hear that gobbling. So if you can hit him hard and get him gobbling, you know, and I like for him to gobble all the way in, for the camera and the gun also.
Well, you know, Walter, sometimes he won't gobble all the way in, and sometimes you have to sit there, and I use patience as a strong virtue in turkey hunting.
Very strong.
You know, a lot of times people get a little anxious, and the bird's not gobbling, not responding, they think they've gone. And a lot of times, you know, birds just won't gobble, and, you know, before I get up out of a place, and I know you guys, learning from you guys over the years, I will sit there and just give it enough time just to make sure that bird doesn't come in silent on me.
Right. I mean, I like to stay at least an hour if I set up on a turkey, you know, and give him time, because he may have a couple of hens with him.
Right.
He'll be a little bit reluctant to gobble and come to you, but eventually they'll drift in there. The hens may drift in there. It may be a slow process.
Right.
You know, not everyone's going to run to you gobbling as hard as he can, so don't give up on him just because he's not gobbling. And if he is gobbling good and then he answers you and he shuts up immediately, then you better be watching, because a lot of times
he's right there.
He's going to be right there within the next minute or two.
What you'll hear too is you'll hear that.
Yeah, that's a good point right there. You know, we don't talk about that a whole lot, but spitting and drumming from a turkey, and we've got some great footage this past year, and, you know, out filming with our camera guys, and you know, I guess having your ears tuned in to that situation,
Right.
even though, you know, you don't hear the gobbling, but that spitting and drumming is a good sound, knowing that bird's close.
With the predators nowadays, a lot of them, they're not gobbling as much as they used to, and a lot of them come in silent, and that's all you'll hear.
Pressure turkeys come in silent.
Yeah, a lot of times. Good points right there. Well, guys, we've got some outstanding hunts coming up right now, and Joe, a lot of these hunts involved you, a Georgia hunt, another Texas hunt, and you know, Walter, I think one of my biggest joys, you know, we all got children, is taking your children with you hunting, but you know, you've got a unique situation. You got a wife that likes to go equally as well,
yeah.
And you had a great hunt here in our home state with your wife.
Had a great hunt.
Well, what we're going to do right now, we're going to take some exciting hunts. We're going to go to South Carolina with a good friend of ours, Hank Jones, and we're going to see Walter and Joe at work as well. So we got some great hunts coming up for you. Let's take a look.
Joe, I think we're going to end for a good afternoon. I tell you what, they've been coming out here regular eating on the green. I tell you what, you and Hank probably set up right over here. I'm going to bring them back up here behind you.
Okay. Now let's be right here on this point. Yeah. We'll stick a couple of decoys up right out in there in that green stuff. Yelp a little bit, see if we can't draw something up in here on top of them decoys. Sounds good.
Look at a couple of these birds. You should say we run around this field.
We're going to do our best here. We're going to try to get us up one.
All right. Appreciate you bringing us.
Hunting with good friend Hank Jones in South Carolina, Joe met up with guide Donald Dukes of Springfield, South Carolina, who showed Hank and Joe a green field where he'd seen turkeys strutting a lot during the past few days. Since Joe knew that a flock of turkeys was using the area regularly, he elected to put out a Jake and hen decoy and then set up and do some calling. And as you're about to see, there's a pile of turkey using this field. Shortly, plenty of turkeys were in the field, including a couple of hard strutting jakes. But the longbeard hadn't showed. Soon, the big boy quietly makes his grand entrance. What a show! He's not about to gobble, but he is willing to show the young guys who's boss. Good shot, Hank.
Well, Big Don, we appreciate you putting Mr. Hank here on his bad boy.
We really enjoyed it. That was a heck of a sight.
Boy, you called the shot on him right where they were going to be, and Mr. Hank here busted his head pretty good.
I'm telling you, that was a great shot. You talked me right through it there, buddy. I was beginning to get nervous. I don't know if you felt that tree shaking or not, but I was pretty nervous in there. That was exciting.
That Jake had me all confused. First Jake come in there strutting, I thought it was a longbeard. He had almost a full fan, and I thought that was him. And he got out there and had a little bitty beard about like that. But this old guy gobbled back there and kind of tipped us off.
Yeah.
So everything worked out great. I mean, hens and Jakes and strutting and gobbling. I said, just doesn't get a lot better than that. It's what, first week of South Carolina season?
Yeah, we're here approximately 20 minutes into the hunt.
Yeah.
Really, really good hunt.
It doesn't happen that quick all the time,
That's true.
I mean, so we can thank our lucky stars. It just, we've got a lot of hours in this video work, and this one come together quick. I was proud of it, too.
Here's Walter Parrott, who's developed quite a liking to Georgia turkey hunting, and who can blame him? With mornings like this one, it's not hard to see why. Walter is set up on a good goblin roosted turkey and begins to do some soft calling. After 30 minutes, the tom appears. Good shot, Walter.
This is a beautiful, beautiful Georgia turkey, one of my favorite states to hunt. You can see this turkey is a 4-year-old turkey anyway. He's got some long spurs turned up, beautiful beard, about 11 inches long. We hunted this turkey yesterday, and he was henned up. He had some jakes with him also. We were fortunate this morning to get a little closer to him on the roost, and he wasn't roosting with those other birds. And so what I done was, I took a box call, and I used my mouth diaphragm, and I tried to sound like more than one turkey, like a couple different hens. And he thought he was coming back to that flock of birds and was going to do the same thing he done yesterday morning. Well, it didn't work out for him, but it worked out great for us. It's a beautiful turkey.
Earlier in the spring, Walter and his wife Linda, who's also an accomplished hunter, visited Georgia and after 2 days of hard hunting, finally found a pair of gobblers who wanted to show off for the camera.
Listen. Come on. Poking decoys out right here. Sit down right here. Right there.
I'd say they're interested. Get ready, Linda. Way to go, Linda. Now, watch as the second Tom is coming back again before Walter runs him off.
They come right in.
Yeah. They were almost running off that bank over there.
Oh yeah, they had a little race going there. One was trying to show the other one his dominance, and the Jake, I think it was a Jake, wasn't it, the other one?
Mm-hmm.
Coming in, and the hens they led the hens up here.
Hens came right with them.
You excited?
Yeah.
Your first Georgia gobbler?
Yeah. First Georgia gobbler.
After all the rough luck we had getting our luggage and everything?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I knew it'd be worth it.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Beautiful turkey. I guess we go back this way, huh? Go back to your right.
Now, if only Walter can find the truck. Now, here's Joe Drake, hunting in what you definitely call a fresh burn. Prescribed burning is great for improving turkey habitat, and once the last flame is out, turkeys waste no time moving back into the area. Looks like Joe's got this fellow on a string, and what a beard! A subordinate Tom has also responded to Joe's calling, but it looks as if he knows where he stands in the pecking order. What a hunt, Joe.
Boy, we did perfect on this turkey. Right here at daylight, turkey, time we got on him and got in here, he'd flew down and went straight away from us, but we got in here just in time to get to him before he got to his hens. And we heard some hens in here the other morning, so we figured there were some gobblers in here, and we come back and checked it this morning. Sure enough, 2 of them was in here screaming. We just got in here lucky, got in between the turkey and the hens and pulled them right in here. That's what they were doing, coming in here and looking for them hens they knew that was roosted in here. Boy, it worked perfect. This is a awful nice gobbler. Got big old hook spurs, probably 1 1/8 inch anyway, just needle sharp. Had his sidekick with him. I guess y'all seen him. I don't know if the camera picked him up or not, but he had another turkey with him. This is not a very heavy turkey, probably weighs 17, 18 pounds. But he's sure got some nice long spurs on him. Probably got, oh, I don't know. He's probably got a 10-inch beard, 10.5 inch. Just a beautiful morning, quiet. It just doesn't get a lot better than this, folks.
While Joe's got our attention, let's join him in Texas for another hunt at the Encinitas Ranch. If you've ever had doubts as to whether a turkey will cross a fence like this, you're about to change your mind. Just watch. That big fence? No problem.
On him. Yes, I'm gonna shoot him. Folks, I wish you could have seen all this footage. This jumping across that field so quick, it was almost scary. He run up to that fence, dropped into a strut, and he come under that fence like a rocket. A lot of people will tell you, you got to sit up on the same side of the fence as a turkey. Well, sometimes you can't, and we couldn't. Don't give up on that turkey. Give him a shot. Sometimes they'll do just like this one did. He run 200 or 300 yards across that field. He meant he was coming over there to us if he had to fly the thing. But it worked out perfect. He come up there, strutted a little bit, did just what he was supposed to do.
You know, Bill, it was really neat watching Linda Joe and Walter share that hunt together. That's exciting. And I'd like to see more women get believe they really enjoy the sport. And there's no doubt that we like to get kids involved as well.
Yeah, especially families. You know, you with 4 children, and I've got one, and Ricky, you've got one. It is special, you know, sharing that moment, especially with a kid or perhaps your wife, but it was an excellent hunt. You know, Brad, we've throughout the video, we've talked about equipment and locating birds and, you know, just a wide variety of topics. But, you know, there's a lot that goes into turkey hunting. And Ricky Joe, you know, for us preseason scouting. And there's a lot of little tips that you can do to locate birds for us preseason. And Brad, how about sharing some of your favorite ways to find turkeys?
Well, one thing with turkey hunting, I think it's a year-round opportunity. I think you got to be out there and kind of know what's going on year-round. So when I'm bow hunting in the fall, I'm taking notice of what kind of turkey population's there, and you know, you get to see birds flocked up, and I follow them through the spring. But a lot of times you don't have the luxury of hunting the same area, so you got to get out and do some footwork. You got to cover some ground, and you know, you want to look for tracks and droppings and scratchings, places where turkey's been digging and looking for grubs, and just kind of take note of that. How many birds seem to be in the area, and you know what they're feeding on and where they're living, and keep that in the back of your mind as you go along. It all is all going to come in handy. And then when the birds get to gobbling in you know, the early season, the early part of spring, when they actually start gobbling, then you can go out and, you know, listen to what you're really wanting to hear, and is that gobble, and use locator calls and start kind of putting things together, fine-tuning it for the upcoming season.
You know, I think one mistake, Ricky Joe, a lot of people do, and you know, and I find myself a little bit guilty of this from time to time. You know, everybody likes to hear that bird gobble even before the season starts, but I think that can hurt your turkey hunting situations a lot of times. That, you know, you call to them too early. Save those calls when you can, when that season does begin, but you can locate them otherwise.
Yeah, I like to go out with the owl hooter early in the morning or crow call, just get them located. No, they're generally going to roost in the same area. They'll make a little loop, maybe on this ridge one day, the next ridge next. But get a pattern on them where they're going to be. But don't get out there and hammer them with turkey calls hard before the season comes in, because you educate them. You can go over your buddy's property and maybe do that, but that'd be kind of dirty.
You know, isn't that the truth? And, you know, Brad, so much, and a lot of times you and I find ourselves at places doing seminars at the same place. And, you know, I always speak when I do seminars, whether it be deer hunting, turkey hunting, or whatever, but woodsmanship plays a very important key in hunting. And you don't have to be the best caller in the world to be able to hunt turkeys or deer for that matter, but woodsmanship's a very important key for setup, knowing the land and terrain. I know that's very important to you.
I really believe, Bill, some of the best hunters that I know are very, very good woodsmen. They never win a turkey calling contest, but in the woods, they are really very confident in their abilities, and that's the key. The only way you get there is spending time in the woods. You can read books and you can watch videos, but to learn woodsmanship, you got to go live in the woods. You got to spend time there. Knowing where all the fences are, the creeks, the drainages, how to get around areas easy, looking for trails and logging roads, knowing where turkeys are living, where they're moving to and from. Well, you start adding all that up. That really is the most important key. If you're set up in the right place, you know what's in the area, your calling's going to be 10 times more effective, you know, and that's just, there's no shortage as far as I'm concerned for spending time in the woods and knowing what's going on in that area. One thing you need to do, Bill, we do a lot of early morning scouting, but I like to scout late morning as well, because a lot of the birds we take are late in the morning, and you go out and scout at daylight and you hear some birds, then you go home. You need to scout birds late in the morning pre-season. That way, pre-season, or when season gets in, it comes late morning, you're not lost, you know where to go.
Exactly. You know, Ricky Joe, a lot of times we hunt. I know you and I have been to Florida the last couple of springs, and you know, learning the land, you know, lands you hadn't hunted before. You know, a lot of times a topo map will help you, for strategizing on places and finding out where water is. But I know we use that a lot.
Yeah, especially down there because you've got a lot of barriers like cypress heads, little creeks, a lot of wet places the turkeys like to work around, and knowing those boundaries, it'll help you a lot.
You know, let's talk a little bit right now, and let's change gears just a little bit about working the turkey, the strategies of working a turkey. And I think that's, you know, you got a bird responding to you, and you have that moment of indecision, maybe perhaps, Brad, what I do next. You know, you got to be confident in what you're going to do next. And, you know, of course, a lot of times that comes with years of experience. But, you know, if you're set up on a turkey and that bird is perhaps, you know, is a location, give me a little strategy of what you might do first to know he's coming into you.
You know, Bill, I was raised as you were. I mean, as a young man, I was taught my grandpa, you know, yelp 3 times and shut up, and to sit there forever and, you know, until something happened. That's not a bad strategy if you got patience. My my patience wears thin, it seems like the older I get, so I get more aggressive not only on my movement, but also on my calling. So personally, I like to call. I go out and listen, want to hear a bird gobble. But I have confidence in my calling ability, and I try to read the bird. You know, you can read the bird if he's gobbling strong to your call and cutting him off sharp. You know he's interested, so you might be able to get by with a little more calling to build that excitement up. If he's not, if he's hanging up and he's not cutting your calls, you might want to revert back to a little less calling and more patient tactic. But the key is being versatile.
Right.
There's no two turkeys exactly the same, so when you set up on a bird, you know, try something. If it feels right, go with your instincts. If you feel like calling, call. Don't be afraid to call. If you feel like setting and waiting, set and wait. You know, it's just one of those things, you read it, and you just hope you choose the right technique for that situation.
Well, you know, and something too, Ricky Joe, a lot of times if, you know, you can't ever go wrong, as Brad mentioned about perhaps, and I call it reading the bird, you know, giving him as much as it takes to, you know, get him to come in. Sometimes you can overdo it, and sometimes you don't do it enough, but again, that's kind of don't be afraid to try something. You know, your guess may be the wrong guess the first time, but you know, that comes with experience and try different situations.
Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error in it, and you're going to learn. I mean, you're going to turkey hunt for years, and try to learn something every time you go out in the woods. If it didn't work this time, think when you're going home, try to figure out what you did wrong, what you could change to make it work for you next time.
Exactly. Let's talk a little bit about you know, you've done all the things right, and you're sitting up on the bird, and you got your back against a tree, and you think you've done everything right, but what I call the shot. You know, after you've done everything that you're supposed to do, all your preseason scouting, the whole game plan comes together, but it comes down to the shot, and there's a lot of strategy, Ricky Joe, as far as the shot and being ready for it.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of people got their gun down, relaxed. They're not prepared when the turkey's coming in. What I like to do, especially if I'm using friction calls, is have the gun up on my knee and have it pointed in a general direction I think he's going to work in. That way you can just got to ease the gun up and you can pivot. I get my shoulder squared away where I can swing with the least amount of movement.
Right.
Being prepared, because that turkey's eyesight is so keen, he can pick up on any movement.
You know, a lot of times too, Brad, we talk about the anticipation factor, and even though that bird gobbled 100 yards out, he could change direction and come in another way. So a lot of times that anticipation factor, you know, I use what I call the 90-degree rule. When I've got a gun up, I've got more movement this way instead of to my offside right there. So I might fudge over or cheat over a little bit to have a bigger, wide view for being able to swing the gun.
One thing, Bill, is good. A right-handed shooter needs to point his left shoulder to where he thinks the bird's going to come from.
Right.
If he's gobbling at it, point your left shoulder to him. It gives you that span.
Right.
If you're sitting there facing him, he happens to come in a little bit to the right, you might have problems. So point your off shoulder towards the bird, and it's going to help you. The other thing is you've got to realize that turkeys don't all just come running in. They may sneak in, they may come gobbling in.
Be ready.
Just simply be ready.
Be
and
ready.
don't, if you get caught off guard, take it easy.
Right.
Don't throw up and shoot.
That's some great tips right there. And what we're going to do now, we're going to go to 3 hunts with a friend of ours, Jerry Martin, and also with Joe Drake. And then I had a hunt, in South Dakota where I was fortunate enough to get a double. But what we're going to do right now is take you to those hunts, 2 from Texas, and then my hunt in South Dakota. Let's take a look at some good gobbling action.
Team Realtree member Jerry Martin knows a thing or two about turkey hunting and locates some birds just after fly down time. Two big strutters showing off for their lady friends. Make that 2 very big strutters. With the camera rolling, Jerry's content to just sit back and enjoy the show. Nice shot, Jerry. With a black powder, no less.
He kind of came over our way and got these birds into range, and I decided to pick this one because I could really see his beard was a lot longer. I shot him with this muzzle-loading shotgun here. It was about 42 steps, which is a long shot, but the gun patterns really well, and I was fortunate to get this bird. He is sure a dandy bird. Probably 1.25 inch spurs. I'm going to say he's a little over 20 pounds, which is big for Rio, and this beard's really going to put him up there. It's a great bird.
Once again, Joe Drake takes us on a great Texas hunt. You get the feeling Joe's done this a time or two. Suddenly, the three amigos show up. Nice shot, Joe. A double.
Boy, just things went crazy here this morning. Turkeys aren't working right, and they're still together, and all these turkeys come in together at one time, and they got to fighting and carrying on, and broke up and finally come back in here together. I didn't mean to do this, really. I meant to kill the lead turkey, and the other one, I never even seen him when I pulled the trigger. It happened sometime, but they're a 3- and 4-year-old gobbler, and everything worked out good, and I'm awful proud to get these two grown adults, Rios.
Hunting with Mark Kaiser, outdoor promotions manager for South Dakota, Bill finds himself making a move on some Merriam turkeys to get a little closer before he starts calling.
Tell you what, let's do. Let me ease right up here on top of the edge. Before I get up there, let me just call real soft one time. They have to be up there within a couple hundred yards. I'm about out of breath. And see if we can get them to gobble. Might be a pretty good place we can set up there.
All right, let's try it.
Let's do this. Let's put our head ends up, and I'll wheeze up just a little bit and see if I can get something to gobble. Okay. And if it is, might be a good place we can set up right here.
Yeah, this is good.
Here's proof that being a good woodsman helps one to be a better turkey hunter. finally set up, Bill begins working the turkeys. Notice the significantly darker plumage of the Merriam gobbler.
All right, man. What a hunt! Can you believe that? Oh,
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
These are just great birds. Oh, gosh.
You know, I didn't ever think we'd ever get back on these birds again.
Oh, boy. We heard them gobble over there. You got them gobbling so good, and I thought, man, they're going to come across that big draw, and they just didn't want to come.
Well, you know, they kind of hung up on this draw, and what we did, we made a big circle, came around, and you about killed me coming up that big hill right there.
Boy, and that snake, I mean, that's...
Ran across the snake on the way. You know, what a way there to excite me, but, you know, when we came up this hill...
Oh, that was another killer coming up, that one.
It really was, but I tell you, got up there and we know yelped a little bit, and they got them, I guess, maybe 200, 250 yards away.
Yep, they were just up that hillside right there.
And came down. Well, I tell you, this is a dream hunt. Filled both my tags in South Dakota.
Hey, Chris has got a great place here hunting, and he always lines you up with two tags.
Don't tell too many people that, because I want to find my honey hole in here.
That's the nice thing about prairie hunting. You can get on a two-bird hunt like this, and then you can go out to the Black Hills and maybe pick up a third.
Well, let me tell you what happened when that first bird came up, was closest to me, and I kept hearing you and Don Jones, Don's our cameraman, kept saying, shoot, shoot the strutting birds. Well, all I could see was the fans. I was down in a hole, and all I could see was this bird. And I'm sitting up there, and I was trying to give you a little hand signal that I can't see the strutting birds to shoot.
That's what I started figuring out, and then I thought, Don's not even on the right bird.
I know. I started telling you, this bird, all I can see. Oh, but it worked out good. You know, I went ahead and got that bird, and these birds run off. And I tell you, I did too. I started just yelping, making some kind of yelping sound.
Yep.
I was so excited.
I saw them turn around right when you shot, and they both got right on that dead bird. And I thought, oh man, here they're going to come over and pounce on it.
I did
Sure
too.
enough, here they come, and I think that yelping really helped, don't you?
Oh, bunch. I tell you, when both this bird and the other one came up, the angle that I had, they were close together.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it took me 2 shots to get this one. But what happened was, they were so close, only having 2 tags, I was afraid I'd hit the other one. And I actually put the bead in front of this bird just a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Just not to hit the other one. I can see me going over my limit. But
no, I don't want that bird.
Realtree's All Stars of Spring 4, Hunting with the Pros, is brought to you by Walls, leading the way outdoors. Wellington Outdoors, makers of Ben Lee and Tink's hunting products. CVA, since 1971, accuracy at an affordable price. Motorola, have fun, stay in touch. Game Tracker, over 200 archery products strong. Bear Jennings, makers of top quality Bear and Jennings bows. And by Realtree, America's most versatile camo pattern.
Bill, I can tell why you like South Dakota so much. What a hunt.
As you know, that's one of our favorite places to go each year, and hunting those Miriam birds. And I think Chris Yeoman out there does a great job for us year in, year out. But Joe and Jerry had great hunts in Texas as well. Both those places, Texas and South Dakota, have a lot of birds.
Well, I tell you, this video has been an awesome experience for me. All the information that our Pro Staff guys delivered, and y'all talked about a lot of aspects about turkey hunting, and I think it was very enjoyable for everybody.
It's very enjoyable for me. And speaking of enjoyable, we always say this everywhere we go. We enjoy everywhere we go. And the outfitters, the new people we meet are always excellent, as we always say. But we've got the telephone numbers and addresses for those outfitters coming up where they too can hunt a lot of turkey places.
That's exactly right. And there's a lot of good turkey hunting out there that everybody has access to. So they'll take advantage of it.
I'm speaking of taking advantage of it. I'm ready to get my calls out right now and go turkey hunting. But folks, we want to thank you for joining us today. And as I always say, when you have an opportunity, take a child hunting and fishing so they too can enjoy the outdoors. For David Blanton, I'm Bill Jordan, and we hope to see you next time for more exciting videos from Realtree Outdoor Productions.
For an exciting Rio Grande hunt, contact Bill Whitfield at 210-494-6421. For fabulous Merriam hunting, give Chris Yeoman a call at 605-348-4973. For some fantastic turkey hunting in South Carolina, contact Donald Dukes at 803-247-2600.